Turkish authorities say the suicide bomber who killed 4 people in the center of Istanbul on Saturday had links to Daesh. DNA tests have identified the bomber as Mehmet Öztürk, a 23-year-old Turkish national. Locals have been laying down roses and Turkish national flags in memories of those who were killed in the attack in Istanbul's busiest shopping street. 39 people were injured and 8 of them remain in critical condition in hospital. Let's get more on this and speak to Orhan Turkmenoglu, who joins us live from Ankara. He's a foreign affairs expert and a former advisor to the UN and the EU. Many thanks for joining us, Orhan. What do you make of this announcement that the suicide bomber was linked to Daesh?
Good afternoon. This is not the first time the Daesh is attacking the Turk within the Turk territory. Remember that the Turkey is the first country which designated the ISIL as a terrorist organization. The Daesh is suspected of involvement in quite high number of the terrorist activities in Turkey, starting from 2013 Reyhanli, and then 2014 again they killed the police officers on the way to Aksaray, and then Diyarbakir rally bombing on 2015 right before the general elections. And most recently, you might recall that July 2015 Suruç bombing. So those are already Daesh conducted operations. I mean, there are internal and external factors pushing or compelling the Daesh to attack to the Turkish attacks, especially Turkish assets and within the Turkish territory. The internal reasons could be listed, especially right after those that Suruç attack. The very tight border control and physical barriers have been established around the Syrian border. That's why any infiltration in and out from the Syrian territory to the Turkish territory has been cut. And then the most recent, the Turkish police conducted quite high number of anti-ISIS Daesh operations in Turkey and arrested many. Plus, there was a flow of the ISIS recruits from Western countries into Syria. And the number of the deportation of those would-be Daesh recruits were quite high. This link has been completely cut. So those are the internal factors. If we go out to the little bit broader picture, there's a little bit bigger setup behind that. To me, once the Syrian crisis, especially the refugee crisis, is established one way or another with some kind of reconciliation together with the US and the European Union, then the next step is going to be the solving the Mosul case. Especially Turkish troops establishment in Bashika is quite disturbing in terms of the Daesh presence, military presence in the area. That's why Daesh somehow takes the Turkish army's existence within or quite close to Mosul as a threat to their existence within Mosul.
Okay, Orhan, what is interesting in this case is that he was a Turkish citizen. Many of the previous attacks that you have been describing there of Daesh have been non-Turkish citizens. What should we make of the fact that he was 23 years old and he was a Turkish citizen?
I mean, especially the southern part of Turkey, because of the, let's say, cultural setup, because of the religious setup, it's a little bit hotbed for the Daesh in terms of recruiting the Turkish citizens. This is not just a matter of ideology, it's also a matter of financial sources. There might be various reasons for recruiting those Turkish citizens. It's not only Turkish citizens. If you look at the setup within Daesh, both in Syria and Iraq, it's spanning from the former Soviet Union up to France, United Kingdom, German citizens. So it's the mixture of almost the whole Western world. That's why there are various reasons, and I guess one of the most remarkable one is the religious factor, those fundamentalist mindsets, and some financial sources.
Orhan, Turkey is fighting terrorism on 2 fronts, Daesh and the PKK. We've seen 2 attacks by PKK-affiliated groups in Ankara just in the last few weeks. How challenging is it for Turkish authorities to deal with these 2 security threats at the same time?
This is not the first time Turkey is experiencing, especially Turkish governments are experiencing such multi-dimensional, let's say, warfare. Because in early 90s, again, the Turkish government and Turkish law enforcement agencies were fighting against the ultra-Kurdish organizations and ultra-leftists, the HKPC, similar organizations. So it's not the first time. I guess the Turkish government and the Turkish law enforcement agencies have the capacity and capability in terms of dealing with this kind of multi-dimensional terrorist warfare.
Well, you say that they have the capability, but do they? I mean, we've seen 4 attacks in the space of 2 months this year.
Right. It's in a way that some kind of turbulent period. It's a time that all the citizens, the Turkish citizens, Turkish nationalities should show the solidarity, and they should be assisting the Turkish forces, the law enforcement agencies in terms of fighting against the terrorism. This is a turbulent period, and it's not. I do not believe that it's going to last long. Definitely, they have their own. The Turkish government has its own contingency plans. But at the end of the day, it's a 75 million population, inhabitants living in this country, and one way or another, there might be infiltrations. But the bright side of the story to me is that the government has the capacity, the law enforcement agencies has the capacity and capability to deal with that.
Okay, Orhan, many thanks for your time.